7:35 on a cloudy Monday. I want to welcome to microphone number 2 Ty Cotter, who's with CareCenter Ministries. Is that correct, Ty?
Yes, sir, it is.
How you been?
I've been doing great. Thanks for
see
doing
you.
good. Good to be here.
Well, what is CareCenter Ministries?
Okay, CareCenter Ministries is a nonprofit organization that is, as we're going to begin with, a discipleship program for drug-addicted men. And so we just take in men with life-controlling issues such as drug addiction, alcoholism, or just whatever, homelessness. It doesn't matter. If you just need a closer walk with God, we can provide that type of place.
When we talk about drug addiction, and I last week Sheriff John Montgomery was on with Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, and we talked about a few things. What I don't understand is why would somebody want a foreign chemical in their body? Now, let me give you an example. I told the story of when I worked at Parts House, a guy that wanted a case of carburetor cleaner in those days. We still used a lot of carburetor cleaner, which is a very, it is a solvent that'll go through just about anything. I mean, if you've got dirt, grease, grime on anything, it's going to clean it off. Plus, he had a gallon of battery acid. Now, if you've ever had either one of those chemicals on your skin, or especially in your eye, like I had carburetor cleaner in my eye one time, I sure don't want it in me. It hurts. Why do, and we also talked about alcohol in the old movies. I need a drink. The only thing I need is water. Why do you need a drink? I don't understand. Right. I've never been addicted to something like that.
Okay, well, I can, there's a lot to say pertaining to that.
Microphone's all yours.
Yeah, okay. Well, to start off with, there's a lot of things, and I come from 17 years of drug addiction myself, but in most cases, the drugs and the alcohol is the cover-up of the real issue, and the real issues lie within our heart, and the real issues come from our past as well. There's a lot of us out there that are in drug addiction and alcoholism that have gone through a lot through childhood or even as juvenile adults or teenagers, and there's things that happen in life, and we turn to something to cover it up. And that cover-up normally is through drug addiction and alcoholism. And there's times also that it starts off to where you're just having a little fun, if you will, and experimenting with drugs, and it becomes an addiction, something that grabs a hold of you, and you just can't stop. And it gets worse and worse. It progresses, in time. That's why you hear a lot of talk of marijuana being that gateway. It starts off, you're just having a little bit of fun, and then you move on to the harder drugs, and you can't stop, and it begins destroying your life. And so
So does the body start to crave?
Yes.
An extra amount of...
So as you're covering up those feelings and emotions from your past, it becomes a physical addiction to where you feel like you need it every single day. And it becomes a monster, really, and it's hard to get away from.
So how did you overcome this addiction?
Well, through the hand of God is the only thing I can say. I've tried many times on my own. I'd been to prison a couple of times, a few different secular rehabs. I've been to the county jail more times than I can count. And I just know that it was when God reached his hand down and grabbed a hold of my heart is when everything changed.
So what were you searching for?
Well, it was a love that I'd never had in my heart, and it was the love of God, the only love that could fill that void in my heart. And I found it in him. So with all that, I'm more full today. And so I have something inside of me that's far greater than the addiction of the drugs, and it's God's Spirit.
Interesting. That's good. That's good testimony. So how do you reach out to the other men in the community?
Well, we're just really trying to let everybody know that we're here. Let them know that we're here to help and to be a part of somebody changing their lives. So we provide a facility. We right now have 7 men in the home. There is, let me do the math on that. That will make 9 beds open. And so we got 9 beds open for men. We don't charge anything to come in. We know when a man's at the end of his rope, he's at the end of the rope. If he had another $100 left, he'd spend it on dope. And so we know also that our family members are tired of supporting us and helping us over and over and over because we've tried so many different times. So it don't cost a man nothing to get in. The only requirement we have is a desire to change. That's the only thing we require, man, is some brokenness and some desire to do something different with his life. So We provide a biblical structure to where they can get a foundation, really, a good biblical foundation under their feet, to where when they do go out and face the world, they can face it strong and have something to stand on, really, so that they can make it in life. And that's really what it takes. So we provide that structure to develop a great, strong relationship with God. And so we teach our men throughout the day. First thing in the morning, we're up at 5, breakfast at 5:30. We're in the Word at 6 o'clock for a devotional. We do worship, we do prayer, and then we're back in class from 7 to 8. And then from 8 to 4:30, we do like a basic work schedule. And what that looks like is we're either working around the building, cleaning around the building, or we're serving in the community, or doing odd jobs to try to generate some revenue for the ministry. And so if we can make a little money to help pay our bills, we want to be kind of self-sufficient, if you will. We want to be able to pay our own bills, as men should. And so it's a 1-year program. So it's lengthy, but we need it. There's a lot of stuff to work through in a man. And so we ask for a 1-year commitment. The first 6 months, these guys are with us day in and day out, discipleship every day. And the last 6 months, if they feel like they're supposed to go to work, then we'll help them find a job. And even when they go to work, they'll be accountable with their time, accountable with their money, and we expect them to be hard workers and diligent on their job site. And, at the end of that 6 months, we hope that they have experienced a little bit of the world, if you will, and had enough structure still in their lives that as they transition out, they transition and stay on their feet. And that's the goal. We want to transition them right into their own apartment, their own house, and having their own job.
I'm trying to Google. I think the Baxter County, I'm trying to pull this up. Baxter County population. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
Population. Baxter County population. There we go. I think we're about 40. We're 40,957 as taken unofficially in 2013. Now, with that in mind, that's Baxter County. Let's say 41,000 people. What percent of the residents you think would have an issue with drug or alcohol related? Would it be less than 10%?
I would say it would be way more than 10%. I believe it would be shocking for the people to really know what percentage is addicted and or alcoholism has taken over. A lot more than what you'd expect. Some people can carry it better than others. I've known predominant businessmen that have used drugs or alcoholics themselves, and they may not have lost everything, but still in addiction. And so you never know. It's no respecter of persons. It'll take anybody.
What about economic stress, financial stress?
Well, how hard is it? What does it cost to house an inmate in Baxter County Jail a day? I have no clue, but I know it's costing the taxpayers money.
Yeah.
The same way with prison systems, it's costing the taxpayers money. Now, I understand there's certain things people do need to do their time, is depending on the crimes that they commit, but is drug addiction this reoccurring thing that someone can't get a hold of, and is the prison really doing them good as they go in and out? Every time they get out, they do good for a couple of weeks, and they're back in action, and back behind bars shortly after. So it's a vicious cycle. And so we're
seeing that's something else. We talked with Governor Hutchinson one time when Sheriff Montgomery was here. Has there been any psychological study on why the repeat offender? And neither one don't know of a fact that comes out saying why the repeat offender.
It's a hard one to get a hold of.
Yeah.
It just really is hard. I know that we have seen a lot of change. I wanted to briefly say that we come from a 29 year ministry in Dallas, Texas. They started it 29 years ago. And I went there 4 years ago to get help, but I was surrounded by men who had been through the same thing that I had been through. The drug addiction, the prison, growing up violence and all this stuff. So being around those kinds of people and knowing and seeing that God had changed their lives encouraged me to look back and say, wait a minute, if God did it for them, he could do it for me. And so I went, instead of going to work at 6 months, I went into their leadership academy courses that they offered, the same thing we offer here for our men, and it's to get an associate's degree in biblical studies as these men do hands-on ministry. So it's another 2 years dedication to the ministry, but you learn hands-on ministry, and if you feel called to ministry, you get an associate's degree in biblical studies as you go through the courses. And that's what I did. After a year and a half of doing that in Dallas, Texas, they sent me under a pastor to Birmingham, Alabama, where we started from the ground up in an old wore-out building with a small church, and the church had tripled, if not quadrupled, in people as we began taking in men. The same men that are there now have a hand in and are running a full-fledged ministry. They give out groceries to the community. They open the church up for service. They're on the worship team. They count the money, giving away food baskets and preparing meals for the community. And these are the same men that were in the same community shooting heroin, smoking crack, and all that other stuff. And so these are the same men. Wow. So that's powerful. So they're running the ministry right now. We're able to raise up leaders in Birmingham, and some men who have dedicated their lives to full-time ministry. And so they right now are running the same ministry that we began 2 years ago that is now established, and they're being very fruitful down there and really impacting their community. And so we know that we can do the same thing. We've already done it once, and we know we can do it here.
So what I'm hearing from you is, first of all, there's a self-esteem value here.
Amen.
Then there's the biblical Christian value that whether a man believes in Jesus Christ or not, you've got to get his self-esteem up. And then once he realizes the love of Christ,
amen,
then it brings him up another level.
It sustains him. You know, part of our program structure is giving back to the community. And so these men that we have, 7 men right now in the home, we just went out a couple of days ago and cleaned up some house. It looked abandoned, but right here across as you're headed to the hospital behind Exxon. But anyway, so that's not the only house. We've cleaned up a couple of houses so far, and we're going to continue to go out each week and find a need in the community and meet it. And so we're part of their structure is service to the community. It's giving back. So the same community they've been taken from for years, the same guys that were robbing and stealing and doing drugs and all that stuff are now giving back to the community. And we'll see more of that as we progress.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break here so we have a little bit more time to close out the show with Ty Cotter of CareCenter Ministries. We'll be right back. 7:50 on a cloudy Monday morning. Visiting with Ty Cotter of CareCenter Ministries. And you've got something coming up on the 27th, you said?
Yes, we do. We are going to be at the North Star Apartments over here in town, and we're going to put out some flyers ahead of time for the apartment complexes that are nearby, just to get some kids out there, little children's outreach, put on some games, give away some bikes, have some prizes, little bounce house and stuff like that, slip and slide. And we're going to have us a little PA system set up and see if we can't run us some little courses to get these kids to challenge each other to win some prizes. And we also be grilling some hot dogs and stuff. So our goal is this is not going to be an annual deal that we do. We want to do this like every other month so that we can develop relationships with the children. So, it is about the games and the prizes, but it's not. It's really about developing relationships with the children. And so, and in hopes to develop those same relationships with their parents. But we want to give these kids something to look towards, something to say, you can have fun without drugs or without alcohol. And there is a lot of fun to have out there. And we just wanted to be involved in their lives and just show them a good time. And we want to be consistent in that as well. And so the men, it's, again, part of their giving back and developing relationships. So it's going to be awesome.
You a 501c3 nonprofit?
Yes, sir, we are.
So people can donate financially if they feel led?
Yes, please. Anything helps. We are a nonprofit. We're not government, federally supported. We get a small missionary support from Dallas, as well as we have a couple of people or a few people now that support us monthly here in Mountain Home and y'all's community. And so this is the community where we're going to make the biggest impact, is right here in this community. Now we have some men in the home, one from Springfield, one from Mississippi, one from Dallas. And so anyway, but we're just helping anybody that wants help. But this community right here is going to see most of the fruit from what we do because we live here and we want to make a difference right here in this community. So the support from the community is a really big deal. And we'll take donations of any kind. And yes, your support is strongly needed. We need it. We rely on prayer and God to move on people's hearts. So if anybody feels need to give or feel like God put it on your heart to do something for us or with us, just please contact me and we'll work something out. I'm pleased to say that the financial side of this ministry, I'm the pastor over this ministry and the director of the ministry, and we're starting out as a men's home, but we're going to have much more to come, like a women's home and a children's church, and one day we'll birth a church, we believe. And so right now we're actually trying to raise money for a building fund. We're going to grow out of our building soon, and it's not going to be long. We have a 6-bedroom house, and it won't be long to fill it up with men who want to change, and we're going to need to relocate. And so we're looking at some land. We got a guy who wants to help us purchase some land, and we're going to put together a building fund. We got all hands on deck for labor. So all we need is material, and so if we get the material, we'll be set, and we'll be breaking ground and starting something new. But we need y'all's support. So if anybody feels led to help in any way, please contact us and be a part of change in your community.
So there's no doubt in your life. I'm sitting here watching as you talk, and I can see the carrying spirit you have. The change in your life was real.
Yeah. It's been 4 years since I had used intravenously methamphetamines or smoked or drank or anything like that. So it's been quite the change. Yes, I love it, and I wouldn't do anything different. It's been amazing, and now I get to be here in my hometown with my family and my children to do ministry with them as well. So it's a blessing to be here and to be a part of change in the community for a long time. If y'all recognize my name, I have been in the paper and even on KY3 for stuff that for bad things, if you will.
Now we need you on KY3 for good things.
Yeah, so now I get to have a hand in something good in the community. So I mean, it just blesses me. It's awesome, but it's only made through y'all helping out. And so if y'all could help us in any way, it's just awesome what we're going to be able to do in the near future.
Now, can you give out any phone number or location?
Yes, please.
For people to contact you.
My number is 870-736-6028. That's my number directly. Please, contact me. If you want to help in any way, it doesn't have to be monetarily. You can give your time, your treasure, and your talents.
Now, we're going to put this program again on audio on demand so folks can listen to it later on the computer or on the iPhone. We do have the iPhone app. And so if you missed the phone number, it'll be on audio on demand. You just log in on that. Real quick, about 8 seconds, final thoughts before the theme song plays.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody in the community for your support so far. We've had a great support from everybody. Just want to say thank you to everybody, and just call me, please, if you want to get more involved, 736-6028. Thank you. God bless.
It's Ty Cotter of CareCenter Ministries in Mountain Home. It's time for the Hannity Update. We'll see you tomorrow.